You ever have that feeling that what you put out into the world somehow, some way finds its way back to you? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. This powerful idea of karma. And it's not some far out ancient concept. It's a force that's actively shaping our lives every single day, suggesting that every action, big or small, has a consequence.
I mean, you can't get much more direct than this, right? Think of it like a cosmic boomerang. You throw it out there, and it's coming back. This isn't about some judge in the sky handing out rewards and punishments. Nope. It's presented as a fundamental law of nature, like gravity, a natural consequence of the energy and actions we ourselves set in motion. At its very core, it's just this simple. Karma is basically a mirror. It's going to reflect back exactly what we're putting in front of it. If we're planting seeds of peace and love, well, that's the kind of garden we can expect to grow. But if we're sowing chaos and negativity, that's eventually going to find its way back home too. All right, so here's the roadmap for our journey today. First, we're going to start with the personal stuff, the law of return. Then we'll zoom out and see how our actions create these incredible generational ripples. From there, we'll take a hard look at what happens when a whole society seems to forget this law. Then we're going to turn inward and see how questioning our own beliefs is the key, before finally, we face what's being called the final bill. So first up, the law of return. This is karma on its most personal, most direct level. We're talking about the consequences that land right on our own doorstep. What's so interesting is how this idea pops up in all kinds of ancient wisdom. This quote from the book of Matthew, for instance, just nails it. It says our words have real weight. They can lift us up or they can pull us down. It's a serious reminder to be mindful, to be intentional with every single thing we speak into existence. And here is a super crucial point. Karma doesn't work on our schedule. As the material we're looking at points out, sometimes the consequence is boom, instant. Other times, though, it can just sit there, dormant, for years and years, waiting for the perfect moment to pop up. The timing might be a total mystery, but the return, that's a sure thing. But hey, this isn't just about us. The consequences of what we do can build and build into something way bigger, creating what this next section calls generational ripples. Our choices don't just affect our lives, they literally echo through time. This really paints a picture, doesn't it? It shows how the consequences of our actions can basically become an inheritance, for better or for worse. The kindness we show can create a legacy of compassion for our kids. But on the flip side, the negativity or the harm we cause can become this heavy burden that our children and maybe even their children have to carry. It just blows up the idea of responsibility way beyond our own lifespan. So what happens when these generational ripples, all these inherited beliefs and consequences, start spreading through millions of people? Well, you get a society that seems to have completely lost its compass. And that brings us to Section 3, which takes a look at what's described as a culture that is fundamentally disconnected from this law of cause and effect. Now, this is a really sharp and I think super important distinction. We all champion freedom of speech, right? It's a core value. But somehow that's gotten tangled up and confused with this idea of freedom from consequence, which is called out here as a dangerous illusion. The point is crystal clear. You have every right to say what you think, but you'd better be prepared for the reaction that it creates in the world. And this disconnection, it's not just theoretical. It shows up in really obvious ways. This perspective points to a kind of societal sickness with clear symptoms. Egos are just running wild. We've forgotten how to have a simple conversation. We can't just agree to disagree anymore. Our basic communication skills are dwindling, and even simple things like making eye contact are fading away. It paints this picture of a society that's losing the very glue that holds us together. And this leads to a really powerful, really tough question. It forces us to look past the symptoms and ask, what's really going on here? What's the root cause? What are we being fed in our media and our culture that's producing this result of disconnection and conflict? So how do we possibly fix this? While the answer suggested isn't some big external plan, it's internal. It demands we take an inward journey to question the very foundation of everything we think we believe. And here, we get a practical guide for that journey. It's a 3-step process of radical self-inquiry. First, just ask yourself, why do I believe this? Step 2, trace it back. If you got it from your parents, cool, but where did they get it from? Keep going back. And third, do your own homework. Dig deep, get into the history, the context, get to the dirt of the thing, as it says here, to really understand its true roots. The potential result of digging like this is absolutely profound. We might just find out that many of the core beliefs we've built our entire lives on were just handed to us, no questions asked. And we might discover that their true origins actually clash with our own values. It's all about peeling back the layers and deciding for ourselves what we actually stand for. This brings us to our final, and let's be honest, probably the most challenging section. After all this deep thinking, we come right back to where we started, personal accountability. It's time to talk about the final bill. I mean, this quote just lays it all out on the table, doesn't it? Every action, every word, every belief we decide to stand on, it all comes with a price tag. The message is simple. Whatever you put out there, you better be ready to pay the invoice when it shows up. And check this out, because this is a fascinating twist. The bill isn't just for negative stuff. Often, standing up for what's right comes with the highest price of all. Look at Nelson Mandela, look at Martin Luther King Jr. They stood for justice, and the consequence was prison. Their stories teach us that real conviction means you're willing to face the absolute toughest consequences for what you believe in. So, we end here with this one question that takes the whole abstract idea of karma and makes it intensely personal. Knowing that every single choice has a price, what's so important to you? What truth do you hold so dear that you're willing to pay any price for it? That right there is the ultimate test of your foundation.